What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jimmy Talks. Today, I want to address this nonsensical and illogical accusation with literally zero proof behind it, because there is none, of calling me a Fed. We're living in a digital age where the word Fed gets thrown around nonstop like it's confetti at a party, right? If you step outside of the approved narrative for 5 seconds and speak a single truth the system doesn't want aired or is considered unpopular, suddenly you're a Fed or a CIA asset or a deep state plant. It's become this lazy go-to smear for anyone in the so-called alternative space or the right-wing dissenter space who dares to challenge the gatekeepers. Calling someone a Fed isn't about identifying actual government infiltrators, but rather it's actually a calculated trap that's designed to poison the well of discourse. It's designed to silence legitimate criticism and ultimately make honest arguments impossible. So let's address these Fed allegations and other nonsensical arguments, because I think this stuff will start harming my channel eventually. First, you have to understand the environment, specifically with the politics stuff that we talk about, sometimes the guerrilla warfare stuff that I also talk about. Two things that are my autistic interest. In modern day discourse, especially online, within circles that I just mentioned, that consider themselves based or outside the mainstream system, the label Fed has been utterly devalued. It's not a specific accusation that's based on evidence. It's just become a generic insult that's thrown at anyone who disagrees with the accuser, the guy calling people Feds, or anyone gaining traction that the accuser, which is usually the actual Feds, that feels threatened by it, or anyone who simply points out uncomfortable truths that challenge the accuser, so the Fed, an actual Fed, or just someone who disagrees with you, their own narratives. If you're not towing the line, then you're automatically seen as suspect. This rampant, excessive misuse of the allegation is not accidental. Calling others Feds is a deliberate and strategic weaponization of the historical distrust that Americans hold towards the federal government. We've seen this going all the way back to the anti-federalist times, in the 1800s, Ruby Ridge, Waco, and all that stuff. The goal isn't to win an argument based on facts or logic, in before Ben Shapiro meme. The goal is to end the argument before it even starts. By slapping this label on somebody, calling them a Fed, you instantly frame them as part of an illegitimate and an oppressive force, so to say. Then the actual truth becomes irrelevant. The evidence is meaningless. It doesn't matter what you say. The mere accusation will trigger this fear within people, and it makes the accused person automatically untrustworthy in the eyes of the easily convinced or the naive. Those are the same thing. It bypasses actual debate entirely, and that's the point. It's not about proving someone is a government agent or an asset. It's about making it impossible for them to be heard as anything but one. It turns a legitimate criticism of the government or what have you into a weapon against the people that are being accused of it. And it challenging the system gets you labeled this. It really effectively protects the real power structures that silence the critique. So now I will tell you what does make someone a Fed. And after this video, it will become very obvious to you who is legitimate and who is not. So let's define in the most simple, practical terms possible what actually constitutes someone being a Fed, or if they're not, are highly likely to get you wrapped up. Number one, anyone who calls for violence against other people is a Fed. And if they're not a Fed, they're technically not on the payroll or something like that. They are acting with such recklessness and stupidity that they will get you wrapped up with the Feds. It plays directly into the government's own hands. It gives them the perfect pretext for them to go after you. So let's be clear here. Never once in the entire history of this channel Have I called for violence against other people? Not once. You can search all my comments. You can go through all the videos. It simply does not exist. This accusation against me is immediately disprovable. Number two, anyone asking you to break federal laws is a Fed. And if they're not, they are so, again, reckless and utterly retarded in their lack of understanding consequences. They have zero foresight that they will get you wrapped up with the feds anyways. This includes people who say we need to violently overthrow the government. Number three, anyone telling you to manufacture machine guns illegally is a Fed, obviously. And if they're not, they're so idiotic that they are guaranteed to attract federal attention. And you'll go down with them. Same goes for suppressors. Same goes for short-barreled rifles and shotguns. I've never told you how to build these things or encourage you to even do so. In fact, in my concealed carry video, I even tell you to just follow the local laws of wherever you live, because I don't want to get people wrapped up. Even if I think gun laws are stupid, I still tell you to, like, hey, don't get in trouble for some dumbass shit. Number four, anyone trying to get you to join their large and unvetted political group, it's something that could be deemed as fringe or radical or outright dangerous, is almost certainly are already on a watch list, or the group is infiltrated, or both of them. This is FBI Tactics 101. It started in the 1960s with COINTELPRO, and that acronym stands for Counterintelligence Program, and it consists of infiltrating a group and then monitoring the group. This is precisely why I actively discourage joining groups like this, and I personally deleted comments urging people to join Proud Boys or like Blood Tribe or these like other unvetted groups. This is why I've also told people in the comment sections I won't make a Discord or a Telegram chat. I don't want spooks and Fed adjacent people near me at all. I won't tell you to join these groups. I am personally not a part of any of these. I have no desire at all to do so either. The focus of this channel is information, critical thinking, and individual sovereignty and being self-sufficient and using your brain and critically thinking. It's not cult-like allegiance to an unvetted group. If you do join a group or whatever, it should be very obvious and clear that it's not a Fed group. And plenty of these exist and actually are harmless, even in the political sphere. Now, with these 4 rules I mentioned earlier, this is what actually gets people in trouble with the federal government. It's not speaking truth to what's going on. It's not about exposing corruption. It's not having a large audience. The people just flinging the Fed label around are almost never pointing to these behaviors in their targets. And why is that? Because there's no evidence. The targets, people like me and many others that they try to smear, they aren't doing these things. The accusation is purely projection, and it's distraction, and it's made to cause infighting. And that's exactly why they do it. It's because it's a highly effective subversion tool. And it's used specifically to discredit anyone who is deemed a threat to the establishment. Because, like in my example, the subscriber count is growing. Because they're exposing the subversion the elites actually engage in. And because they're successfully uncovering the veil, so to speak, on the dirty mechanisms of modern politics. When someone starts doing this, the FBI doesn't immediately send their raid team in. Like, they don't send in Ash from Rainbow Six. I use her because she was part of the FBI in that game. They just send in the people that are like collaborators that are already in the alternative space. That's where it starts. The sole purpose is just to discredit people and to sow division internally. That's really it. You know, oh, that guy exposing corruption? Yeah, he's a Fed. Don't listen. Like, that's exactly why. It's classic disinformation. As I've already said, it weaponizes historical distrust of the government. By calling someone a Fed, they'll instantly frame that person as part of the very oppression that the audience fears. It bypasses rational debate. It just triggers an emotional reaction. Feds equal bad. Therefore, this person equal bad. Evidence and logic, context, whatever, they're all just thrown out the window. Secondly, it's just pure projection. It's purely gaslighting. Third, It creates crippling paranoia, and it silences the dissent. That's exactly why they call you that. It's to create infighting. We're even seeing this right now. It's been blowing up all over YouTube and X. Tucker Carlson, the former Fox News anchor, who has his own little brand going on, he attempted to smear Nick Fuentes. And what happened? He got bodied. He exposed Carlson's own deep documented ties to the very apparatus that he pretends to critique. Tucker Carlson was calling him a Fed. The guy whose father was a host for Voice of America, which is a service historically controlled by the CIA. The same guy who's calling someone else a Fed was in Nicaragua in the 80s during the Contra War, the war that was heavily funded. This whole operation was funded by the CIA. There's pictures of him with guns with CIA agents in the 80s. This is the guy calling other people a Fed. And then people will be like, well, he was never hired by the CIA. That's exactly the point. Here's the critical point. This cover story is not new. It's a standard operating procedure, actually. It's an SOP. There's been many examples of people with CIA or intelligence community connections. They don't have a formally hired status. They operate through networks, through strategic careers in oil and gas, finance, media, or other industries that has geopolitical interest to the United States. The point of that is access. The point of that is influence. It's also plausible deniability. The Voice of America with Carlson's dad, it's long known as a vehicle for the CIA. Operation Mockingbird. Ever heard of it? Tucker's own career fits the pattern of someone who is within the system, not outside of it. He just interviews foreign presidents all the time, and then the U.S. government passes some new legislation regarding that government after Tucker interviews them. Viktor Orban, Vladimir Putin, Javier Milei. Tucker interviewed all these people. That's kind of strange. Well, look at who else is calling Nick Fuentes a Fed. Let me clarify, too. This isn't to glaze him. This is to show you the tactics that they use with the real-life example. Elon Musk, the guy who has a SpaceX contract with the federal government. Peter Thiel, the AI company, Palantir, that's used by federal agencies for monitoring online activity, including projects aimed at detecting anti-Semitism, which can be easily weaponized. Tucker Carlson himself, Sean Ryan, the host of the show Carlson appeared on, who was a former spook, Milo Yiannopoulos, who publicly admitted to voluntarily talking to the FBI. It's inconsistent. This guy who's placed on a no-fly list is a Fed. The guy who got his PayPal and bank account taken away is a Fed. The guy who got banned off of all social media is a Fed. It's absurd. Being targeted by the system is somehow proof that you work for the system. Again, the point here isn't to glaze Nick Fuentes or endorse everything he says. The point is to use this very public example to illustrate the exact stuff I've been talking about in this video. It's a power play. But it's disguised as vigilance and being ever so ready. The moment I critique a popular figure, or refuse to endorse a fringe group, or simply state a fact that contradicts the popular myths, the Fed accusations start flying. It's not just me. It's predictable and it's lazy. It's a sign that the person saying this has no actual argument and they're resorting to the nuclear option of silencing someone. They don't engage with the substance of what I say or what other people say. They just try to destroy the messenger instead, because there is no argument to be made there. So just destroy the person's reputation. So where does that leave us? And the answer is really simple. And it's the foundation of everything I do here. I'm not going to tell you to do illegal shit. I will never tell you to break federal laws. I'm not going to tell you to build a machine gun or a suppressor illegally. I'm not going to tell you to join a large, unvetted political group that are obvious targets for infiltration. And I've deleted comments pushing that exact same dangerous nonsense because it will get people in trouble. It's not about fear, it's just being strategic. The reason why I'm growing fast is because I have credibility based on verifiable information and logical analysis, and a consistent refusal to engage in tactics that destroy us from within. Focus on the substance of what someone says, not the smear. And remember, again, the simple rules. Violence gets you caught. Illegal shit gets you caught. Unvetted groups get you caught. Speaking the truth and demanding accountability and building community within the confines of the law is how you win. That's how you stay free. And that's why the Fed label gets thrown at people like me and many, many others who have much more followers than I do. They can't attack the message, so they attack the messenger. You need to see it for what it is. It's just a nonsensical argument from those who have nothing left but a baseless accusation. Guys, that's all for today. Thank you for tuning in. Follow me on Rumble if you want to support my work. Patreon for $5 a month if you want to support my work. That's all for today, guys. Jimmy Talks out.